Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. I'm the Monk, and today we are of course in Empire Sin, and we're continuing our boss spotlight series. Today's episode is all about Elvira. So we're going to be going over her stats, her traits, her perks, that kind of jazz, talking about her ability, everything you could want to know about this boss. Hopefully that's the general idea. Anyway, if you are interested in Empire Sin content, then look nowhere else, guys. This is definitely the channel for you. We have covered absolutely everything from day dot on Empire Sin. And if you can't find the answer you're looking for here, I'd be extremely surprised. So think about hitting that subscribe button, and of course, like the video if you enjoy the content. But first up, let's talk about the Empire bonuses. And the first bonus to talk about came in with the precinct update, and that is Orphanage. Upgrades in this precinct have a 7.5% discount. Yeah, that could be quite good, to be fair, especially if you focus your precincts. For instance, I personally like to have all of my breweries kind of stacked together. I know that a brewery precinct, I'm going to be doing a lot of upgrades, because I want to be getting that whiskey produced as quick as possible. So having an orphanage here, having that discounted price could save me quite a bit of money. So I do actually quite like that one. After that, we have Rocksteady Brothel Security Upgrade Cost minus 20%. Personally, brothels, casinos, we don't really need them so much anymore. They're not particularly profitable anymore. I do have a few dotted around, but is what it is. Personally, this bonus isn't really all that. The next one, again, is related to the brothels. Brothels provide 1 extra reinforcements. Again, personally, I don't use brothels, so I don't find that one too difficult. If you did make a brothel run, however, then by the looks of it, Elvira is definitely the boss for you. After that, we have Peacemaker faction rating. When making non-aggression pacts with other factions, you got a plus 100 score towards it, so you've got very good likelihood of making those deals. So that one could actually be pretty good, especially if you're looking to kind of do that playthrough where you're buying everyone out. Again, this goes hand in hand with Elvira and works really well. Next up, we have the stats, and the first stat to talk about is going to be marksmanship. Now, marksmanship is 71. That's actually pretty decent, to be fair. When it comes to marksmanship, you do want it to be around in the 70s to hit consistently, so using something like a machine gun would work very well. It is probably high enough to be using the rifles and the single shot weapons as well, like the shotgun. But yeah, 71's not too bad. Next up, we have the defense bonus. Now, we have a defense bonus of 15, as I mentioned before in Stephanie's episode. 15 defense bonus is great. Most bosses have the 5, but her having that extra 10 basically means she's already wearing level 1 body armor, which is a really nice extra touch. Initiative, we have 68. Again, it's a little bit on the low side, but it isn't terrible. I do like the bosses to be around 70, pushing upwards from that. But initiative is all about the order of battle. So the higher your initiative, the sooner you're going to be getting your shot. But yeah, 68 is actually pretty good. Movement is 7, which again is very good, meaning we'll be able to cross 14 tiles on a battlefield. The next 3 stats, however, are all about your dialogue choices and in-game events. It's percentage chance that, depending on what you do, or what stats being highlighted, your chance of success. And we've got leadership, persuasion, and intimidation at 77, 65, and 65. That's actually very, very good. You got very good high chance of having a successful encounters. Persuasion might be a little bit on the low side to get some of the better in-game events that pop up, but in general, these stats are pretty tasty. Next up, we have the traits, and the first trait is one that increases brothel income by 20%. Initially, you're like, that's actually pretty good, except you have to have your character in the brothel the entire time. Therefore, this trait is absolutely awful. We do have Calm, which is a 25% chance to bleed out instead of die, which can be helpful. Don't want our boss to die after all, do we? That would be the end of the game. But then we also have Loner, which marksmanship decreases by 2 for every friendly character nearby. Now, for reference, we are currently standing outside our safe house, meaning we have 2 guards next to us, meaning we've got that debuff of 4 points right now on our marksmanship. So our marksmanship would be normally 75. Just to add though, with people playing Elvira and with that trait Loner being there, if you have a huge crew and you run 10 gangsters, now 10 gangsters, you're going to be absolutely flooding the battlefield. I understand that, but just think that is a minus 20 to your marksmanship. So have a think about that. I do think that could have a reflection on the weapon that you should use as well. Next up, we have my recommended build guide. Now, some perks are definitely better than others, and so a lot of the builds are incredibly similar. Again, in tier 2, I would recommend Lifeline. Any character within 4 meters of you will bleed out instead of dying. I just think it's too good to not use, especially if you are using gangsters, especially at the beginning of the game. It means you kind of save those gangsters' life quite often than not. In tier 3, we have a couple of options. We have Remedy, which is actually pretty good. You heal the target for 30 HP, applying Remedy to the target, and Remedy restores 30 HP for the next 3 rounds. You do also have Heal, which is very good as well. And of course, Heal just straight up restores 60 HP. In tier 4, honestly, I think the best one to pick is Return Fire. You automatically return fire when attacked with your secondary weapon. Pistols and melee are a very good combo in this game currently, especially if you look at Elvira having that Loner trait. That way you kind of eliminate the marksmanship anyway. In tier 5, you've obviously got Kill Chain. Kill Chain is very overpowered. Fire a shot at a target. If the target is killed, your turn doesn't end and you regain 1 AP. Very useful. You can clear an entire room with this. Honestly, if you haven't tried it yet, try it out. And when it comes to a recommended weapon usage, as I said before, I've said it in many videos, you know, most weapons in this game are good. All weapons in this game really are good. You can become very overpowered. It doesn't particularly matter what you use. It's all about preference. Now, handguns and melee are probably meta right now. Melee's incredibly overpowered, guys. I mean, it's a 100% chance to hit. It never used to be. It got changed. So they're just incredibly good. I never think that submachine guns are a bad way to go, especially as the golden submachine gun is in the shop more often than not. But, you know, if you want to mix it up and go sniper rifles, then go ahead and do that. But if you do a weapon like rifles, like sniper rifles, despite leveling it up and getting all the juicy perks, just remember that marksmanship is going to suffer with Elvira. And now lastly, the one thing we haven't talked about so far is of course the Devil's Breath. Now the Devil's Breath is Elvira's special ability. You need to get the 3 kills in order to activate it. And when you do activate, you attempt to mind control a target. If it's successful, early game it will be more successful than not. If it's successful, you gain control of that character for the next 4 turns. Now the effect will cause damage over time and eventually kill the target, so they're kind of guaranteed to die after those 4 rounds. So use them as kind of, you know, like a free gun. Do whatever you want to do with it. Also, if you turn the last AI enemy in the battle, you will automatically win. It can be useful on paper. It is quite nice. In reality, especially in endgame, especially on boss difficulty, I find Devil's Breath a bit too awkward to use. It doesn't always work. You have to get close up to a target to even get it to work, meaning that sometimes you're coming out of cover, putting yourself in a line. And again, you're only targeting one character. which I prefer abilities that target multiple characters, wipe them off the board as quickly as possible, but that's probably because I like playing with a small crew and only having 4 or 5 gangsters in the first place. Devil's Breath is one of those. On paper, I think it does sound pretty cool, and you can sometimes, control some strong, powerful AIs when you go into combat, when it comes to depots and safe houses. And to be fair, 4 turns is probably around the length of a good battle. You don't tend to get too many more turns after that anyway, so I think it's a good length of control. But for me, it still doesn't quite match up to some of the others. Now, Elvira in general has a couple of really good stats, especially when it comes to those dialogue stats. She's got that health bonus, which is brilliant, movement. And of course, she's a healer as well, which is quite good. I don't particularly like her Empire bonuses, but that is what it is. Is she one of the best bosses in the game? I don't think so. I think she's more mid-tier for me. But that's just my thoughts now. Let me know down in the comments what you think, if you've completed a playthrough with her, if she's one of your favourite bosses, or if you agree with me that she is in fact just a mid-tier boss. But that pretty much wraps up this video, guys, so a big thank you for watching this far. And if you are not subscribed yet, think about doing so. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button, it really does help. But I've been a monk, we've been Critically Clueless, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy gaming.
It would be a war. Done for.